Today, we're going to talk about some of those little habits we all have. The ones that might seem a little weird to other people. But what if I told you they're not weird at all? What if they're actually brilliant strategies your brain is using to help you thrive?
Okay, let's get right into it. Have you ever done this? You find a song and you just put it on an endless loop for hours, maybe even for days, to the point where everyone around you is practically begging you to stop. Or how about this one? A message pops up on your phone. You read it, you know exactly what you want to say back, but for some reason, you just don't. And then hours go by. Sound familiar? If you're not in your head to either of these, trust me, you are so not alone. And here's the wild part, the big idea we're diving into. These things, they're not quirks. They're not flaws. They're actually your brain's secret weapon. Yeah, a seriously powerful tool it's using completely under the radar to manage its energy so you can perform at your absolute best. So first up, let's tackle the music. Let's really get into the power of repetition and figure out what is going on in our heads when we crave that one song over and over and over again. Okay, so it all starts with this. If you have a highly active mind, your brain is basically always on. It's constantly processing, analyzing everything around you. So imagine you're trying to focus. A playlist that keeps changing, new songs, new lyrics, new beats, that's just more and more information for your brain to chew on. It can actually create a kind of sensory overload and just completely drain your mental batteries.
So what does your brilliant brain do about this? It finds a solution. It creates something called cognitive quiet. Think about it. When you play a song you already know by heart, your brain doesn't have to waste any energy figuring out what comes next. It knows every note, every word. This creates this perfect, stable audio bubble that blocks out all the other chaos and lets you get into that state of super deep focus. But you know what? It's not even just about focus. It's also about control. In a world that can feel pretty chaotic and uncertain, that one familiar song becomes this little sanctuary of predictability. You know exactly what's coming. And that's not just passive listening. No way. It's a form of active emotional regulation. It actually has a real physical effect on you. It kicks your parasympathetic nervous system into gear, which is the system that literally calms you down and lowers those nasty stress hormones.
And then there's the brain chemistry, which is super cool. When you find that perfect song that just hits, right? Your brain releases dopamine. That's our reward and motivational chemical. So, when you hit repeat, you're basically creating a closed dopamine loop. You're giving your brain this steady, reliable little drip of a feel-good chemical that keeps you motivated, engaged, and on task. Okay, so that's the whole music thing. Pretty fascinating, right? Now, let's switch gears and talk about that second habit, the pause. Let's decode the hidden logic behind why we sometimes wait and wait to reply to a message. See, here's the thing. Replying to a message, even a super simple one, it's never just about typing a few words. Every reply you send draws on what we call your cognitive bandwidth. Think of it like your brain's daily battery life. It's that finite pool of mental energy you need for everything: thinking, making decisions, keeping your emotions in check. And this just completely changes how we see this habit, doesn't it? Because what might look like you're ignoring someone or being lazy or just disinterested is actually your brain doing something incredibly smart. It's protecting your bandwidth. It's preventing you from getting totally exhausted. It's basically a form of emotional self-protection. Okay, so we've looked at these two habits that seem totally unrelated, right? Listening to music on repeat and delaying a text message. But now it's time to pull back the curtain and see how they are actually two sides of the very same coin. It all comes down to one thing: protecting your mental energy. Here's the big reveal. Listening to the same song over and over and putting off that text reply, they aren't two separate quirks. They are one single strategy, a unified approach your brain uses to manage its most precious, most limited resource, its energy. Let's break it down. Look, whether you're looping a song or pausing on a reply, the main goal is just energy management. With music, the mechanism is creating a predictable audio environment to get you into that focused state of cognitive quiet. With texts, the mechanism is setting a boundary against constant digital pings to protect your cognitive bandwidth. So you see, different tactics, but the exact same outcome, creating a kind of energy shield for your mind. And all of this leads us to a really powerful and honestly, a much kinder way of looking at ourselves. This isn't about figuring out what's wrong with you. It's about understanding something called the cost of depth.
It's a whole new way to appreciate how your mind works. I want you to really hear this next part. Let it sink in. Your habits are not flaws, they are simply the cost of depth. What does that mean? It means your mind is processing the world so deeply, so intensely, that it has to come up with these clever, super efficient little tricks just to handle it all. These aren't signs of weakness. They're signs of a complex, powerful mind at work. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Now that you see these two habits in a new light, what else is there? What other little things that you've always thought of as flaws might actually be your brain's hidden superpowers, just waiting to be understood?